All right, guys, welcome back to another episode on the Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast. Another solo round, don't we, Chris?
Another one.
You just distracted me because you pointed at the camera, and I was just like, what the heck are you pointing at?
I gotta say what's up to the YouTube fan.
Hopefully you guys are doing well, and thank you again for stopping by and listening to our show. It means the world to us. So I'm really excited about today's episode because this is going to be jam-packed with value, and I literally mean that because we're going to be talking about something we're just so passionate about and what we teach in our Inner Circle program to our fitness professional students and aspiring students, and it's so important, if you are a fit pro. So we're going to be talking about 3 simple tips to create a competitive advantage as a fit pro.
So talk to them though. Tell them why should they stick around?
Well,
what happens if they that FOMO if they I don't want to listen to them anymore right now?
Or if I just get annoying that fast, right? I think honestly, if you guys stick around for this, like I said, it's going to be jam-packed with value. So you're probably thinking, what's in it for me? A couple things is you're going to learn how to create a competitive advantage from other fit pros. You're going to learn why giving more leads to more sales, why enhancing client experience will allow you to charge a higher premium for your coaching services. Ooh. So I don't know. I mean, those are 3 convincing, things that would make me want to stay and listen to the podcast. I mean, would it not for you?
Most definitely. Yeah. But I'm excited about it though, because within these 3 simple tips to create a competitive advantage as a fit pro, I got a lot of this kind of inspiration from Grant Cardone, his Sell or Be Sold book.
I heard you listening to Grant Cardone.
Yeah, so I
could hear that man from the room, rooms away.
I've been listening to the audiobook on Audible pretty much Monday through Friday, the first kind of 15-20 minutes, which is like a chapter a day. And I don't know, he just gets you in the mindset, gets you fired up. I like his mindset around money and just being a competitive advantage, standing out, charging higher premiums. I mean, being basically, a really wealthy fit pro. This is what we're talking about, right? Is don't be like everybody else. Don't sit there and feel like you have to settle or not just figure out ways to stand out, as a fit pro, and just carve your own kind of niche, your own lane, and stand by it and be unapologetic about it. Exactly. And build that brand around that.
And let me ask you something really quick before, let's say fast forward, 8 years, when you were getting into online coaching and stuff. I mean, do you feel like you kind of devalued yourself and you didn't, know what your kind of superpowers were and everything?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, 100%, and it's just because I didn't know any better,
right.
And
there's a lot of coaches out there that don't.
And just we were trying to kind of follow the herd of what other coaches were doing, pricing wise, packaging wise, stuff like that. But that's what happens when you don't have mentors, you don't have coaches seeing those blind spots, and that's why we're actually doing this, so that you guys don't make the same mistakes and you guys can create a competitive advantage now, because it wasn't until we hired coaches, joined masterminds, till where we kind of created that, competitive advantage, mm-hmm. and started doing different things to stand out. And I wish I would have started earlier, to be honest.
Yeah, and after having 8 to 10 years of experience in the trenches, failing, losing money, investing in mentors, creating a successful training business. That's why we're doing that within the Dynamic Inner Circle and coaching and giving back to our students, because they're in the same position that we were 8 years ago. Yeah,
and the reason why too, why we're doing this is we want to help you guys kind of cultivate that mindset of, a competitive advantage. Because mm-hmm. at the end of the day, you're fit pros, whether you're a personal trainer or online coach, you're fighting for people's attention. You're fighting Absolutely. To stand out. And you have to figure out how to stand out. You have to have that courage. You have to think outside the box, and this is a really good start. These 3 simple tips we're going to give you guys to kind of create that competitive advantage and start having that mindset and having that outlook to where it's it's I'm in the fitness industry. I mean, you respect your peers and stuff like that, but again, I mean, you want to be the best fit pro out there, and that's the only way to do it, stand out.
And rightfully so, you should have that confidence to say, I'm the best damn coach out there.
Exactly. Yep.
So let's hop into it.
All right, so let's do it. So the first tip to creating a competitive advantage as a fit pro is create a competitive advantage by building your expertise around your niche, okay? So what I mean by that is, first off, I'm not going to get super in depth in this, but you guys need to have some sort of niche or specialty, right? You can't sit there and just be like, I'm a personal trainer or an online coach and be super broad. I think we've mentioned this before in other episodes, but you have to be very, very specific. You have to have a specialty that's going to stand out, a unique way of solving somebody's problem, so that you guys can have that value proposition, that unique selling proposition within it, and solve somebody's specific problem that they want to get, specifically out of that pain.
Yeah, and more importantly, speak that language to people. That their messaging is so important across like social media content and just your landing pages, your websites. I mean, it's just there's so many people that make that mistake of that, and it's just like you're speaking to too broad of an audience towards like people just don't relate with that. They're like, okay, I don't click with that person. I don't understand who they're speaking to.
Yeah. So let me give you an example of this. So creating a competitive advantage by building your expertise around your niche. Let's say that you have that specialty or that niche of focusing only on kettlebell training, and you work with males that are kind of in that 40 to like 35 to 45 range of dad bods, where they used to look really good in high school and now they kind of let themselves go, and you solely focus on that 35 to 45 males, dad bods, and kettlebell training. That's your specialty, that's your niche, right? That's your zone right there. So the way you create a competitive advantage with that is by building your expertise around that niche is, get your certs around it maybe. So maybe go get a certification for kettlebell training, to kind of stand out and, have that cert to kind of back up that, hey, you know what? I can do this, right? Even though we can make the argument of certifications doesn't mean somebody's quote unquote qualified, right? It doesn't. But it always looks good on paper that somebody is certified, and if that dad comes to you or your website and they see the certification, it's probably going to really help that buyer's remorse and make them feel more comfortable, right?
Yeah, it's just extra insurance.
Exactly. And also too, maybe you start attending kettlebell workshops, okay? Maybe you shadow some mentors. Maybe you hire some coaches that, specifically are like experts and really, really good in kettlebell training, so you can learn from them and you can kind of, model some of the things they do, ask them questions, and you guys can accelerate that learning curve. Maybe you guys read books, watch videos on kettlebell training. Maybe you start attending conferences or events where you can find dads that are 35 to 45 years old, so that you guys can go have conversations with them and position yourself as the go-to person with kettlebell training there. So that's kind of how you sit there and create a competitive advantage by building your expertise around your niche, is going that extra mile of certifications, workshops, attending conferences, hiring coaches, reading, studying up on that specific niche and specialty to create that competitive advantage.
Yeah, I love that. And it's just, instead of just, listening to a broad spectrum of just a bunch of different people that specialize in different things, right? Because that's great. I mean, I'm a fan of consuming information and getting different people's opinions. That's great, but again, it's just you have to think about staying in your lane with what you want to do and what you want to specialize in and who you want to serve. That's going to ultimately make you a successful, fitness pro, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then just at the end of each of these three simple ways to create a competitive advantage, I'm going to give you one really takeaway tip and tactic to test out. Okay, so I want you to really apply these because, again, we've been in the trenches for close to a decade as fitness professionals, and past couple of years worked with hundreds of personal trainers, helping them find their niche, their specialty, and stand out and have that competitive advantage. So I'm giving you guys some massive gold here for you guys can really do and really try out. Okay, so I want you to answer these three questions. Okay, the first one is, what education route do I want to invest in? The second question, what expert in my niche can I reach out to and emulate? The third question, how can I mastermind with other people in this niche? So those are three really good questions. It's going to kind of get your guys' brain going and figure out how you guys can create that competitive advantage by building your expertise around your niche.
Ooh, love
That's
it.
number one.
That's just number one. We got two more. Got two more golden nuggets. All right. So number two is why giving more leads to more sales, right? So one of our mentors, Mike Zeller, told us that selling is serving at its highest level. I'll repeat that. Serving is selling.
No,
selling is serving at its highest level. Thank you for correcting me, Chris. But as soon as I heard that, it totally reframed my mindset around selling and when it comes to packaging everything, because I mean, I used to be that personal trainer, fitness professional where I was just afraid to sell. I didn't want to come off as salesy because you're not taught that, as a fitness professional, right? Mm-hmm. You're taught to serve people with kinesiology, movement patterns, nutrition, all that stuff. You're not taught sales and, how to look at it from a different mindset. So when you understand, that selling is serving at its highest level, that you're actually doing yourself and other people a disservice, right, by not putting yourself out there and selling your services to change lives, to help people, to impact them, then that's the way you got to look at it.
Exactly.
And it totally reframes your mindset.
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on that, because this is another saying that I got from a mentor, and he said, if our products and services measurably help others, we have the right ethically to influence others to purchase it. I'll say that one more time.
That's good.
If our products and services measurably help others, we have the right to ethically influence others to purchase it. So that right there is selling and serving at its highest level.
It is.
It really is. You're serving that person.
Yeah, and you should be unapologetic about that, about what you're serving and what you're pricing at, because you know that you are that good at what you do, and you're going to help people in an ethical and integrity manner.
Yeah, and when we talk about like giving more leads to more sales, we're not talking about like giving like everything for free, giving the lowest prices. Doesn't mean anything like that. It just means giving the most attention, right? So serving people with the most attention you can give them. It means giving them the most energy that you can give them. It means bringing the best attitude at the highest level of service. That's what it means. It doesn't mean like you have to always give free, or you have to give discounts, or you have to lower like your quality of your product or service.
Yeah, and just to add to that too, it's showing up every day and being consistent with the value that you're delivering, right? Like you said, I'm always going to tell people, lead with value and you become valuable. It's that simple. So if you show up every day teaching people, educating them out of your heart, out of your passion, what really interests you, they're going to see that. They're going to be like, this guy is not full of shit. Like, he is the real deal. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you have to be able to teach these people different educational concepts in a layman's term. You can't come off as so sciencey and try to just, sound like a scientist, a researcher. People don't really gravitate towards that. I'm sorry. There's a small percentage of people that will gravitate towards that language and that type of education, but just stay in your lane with what you're trying to do with that. Don't try to be somebody you're not, because I kid you not, this happened to us. When we first started, we compared ourselves to other coaches like Lane Norton, like Eric Helms, Dr. Joe, and they were our mentors. Thankfully, we got to learn from them, so thankful, but we always kind of measured ourselves up to them, and we couldn't do that because we don't have PhDs in nutritional sciences and exercise science and stuff, and we're very educated, but that's just not who we are. We didn't have to sit there and come off as speaking that language and being so sciencey. We could have just been ourselves, and it was a huge lesson learned, because it's fine. We were still able to help people, but I'm trying to save other people now from that heartache going forward. That just be authentic, speak your own language, show your own personality, and just fucking educate people.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that's good. But yeah, just the whole thing with this, just that why giving more leads to more sales is, just be more of a giver than a taker. And
Absolutely.
You don't have to expect anything back, but it's just funny how the universe kind of repays you when you become a giver like that, So again, it doesn't mean you have to give everything for free. You can give some stuff free, which I recommend, but it doesn't mean everything has to be free. It doesn't mean everything has to be discounted, Mm-hmm. It's about just being a giver and just exceeding those prospects' expectations and wowing them, kind of predicting what they want, so they don't have to sit there and make so many decisions, and the decision's already made and they already know. So it's like when it's time to hire you, you've already exceeded their expectations by being such a giver, to where it's like, shoot, could you imagine if I hired this person?
Exactly.
Like what their services or products would be like. So that's kind of what we're talking about with this, and kind of an example like I'll give for these listeners is, when we got our book, The New Era of Fitness, right? That was a physical book, And we're so proud of it. We wanted to get it to every person that we possibly could, right? So there'd be times where we'd be working at like a co-working space, and we'd have conversations with people, and they'd ask like, what do you do, and this and that, and we would tell them, we have consulting businesses. One of them's like basically an online training consulting business, and they'd be really interested in that. And we kind of just sit there and ask them some questions, let them talk, right? And they would kind of tell us like maybe nutrition's their biggest what is it? Their biggest downfall. Yeah, I can't even think. Or maybe training is like what's kind of inhibiting their results, right? So we would go back and remember first of all their name, and we remembered what their biggest halt was, nutrition or training. And I remember I would give them a nice little like message on the book. I'd write, "Thank you. Great meeting you. Look forward to connecting with you," with their first name. And then I would put a post-it note like in the nutrition section or the training section, because I would remember and I would predict and over-deliver and over-wow their expectations by doing that, because I remember during the conversation, and I want to genuinely help and serve them, right? So I was being a giver, and they were blown away, right? And then what do you think happened a couple weeks after that? I want to know more about your consulting services.
Exactly.
How do I start working with you? And I wasn't even selling them. I wasn't selling them. I was just serving at the highest level right there, being a giver, not a taker. So that's the type of mindset I'm trying to tell you guys. How you stand out in a competitive advantage is just being a giver will lead to more sales like that.
Absolutely.
Not expecting, but again, not free all the time, not discounting.
Yeah.
Some stuff free, but just the giver mindset.
Exactly. I love that. It's a great story. I mean, that's awesome. Honestly, I don't think you ever told me that in depth like that, but that's pretty cool. So that's a nice little a tip, and it's great. And just to add to that about the value in giving, this is why I tell our students in our program to be consistent, create valuable, intentional, shareable content, right, on social media. Just make sure it's quality stuff. Make sure you're speaking to people directly, like if they're right in front of you. That's the way you have to do it. And so many of our clients at first, come to us with these low prices, and I'm just like blown away. I'm like, how could you even make a living off of this? And then until we really condition their mindsets, take them through our process of the framework, and really build them up, position them as that, expert trainer, and really get clear with who they want to serve with their messaging. It's like it just turns everything around to where it's like they're charging high premium, high ticket packages for their consulting and services as coaches. And that's the way it should be, because they already have that foundation of integrity and being good people. So just more people need to see that.
100%. Yep. So I'm going to give you guys the tip 2 takeaway and tactic to test out, for number 2, which is why giving more leads to more sales. Okay. So the takeaway and tactic I want you guys to test out is with prospects, do phone calls, do video calls, or meet up with them instead of email, text, or DMs. Exceed their expectations, right? So if you have like a prospect, don't sit there and email them like everybody else is going to do. Don't sit there and text them like everybody else. Don't DM them like every other fitness coach or personal trainer is going to do. Exceed their expectations. Go the extra mile. Be a giver. Hop on the phone call with them. Hop on a FaceTime. Hop on a Zoom call with them. Meet up with them if they're local. That's going to go such a long way. It's going to go such a long way if you can be able to do that. So just like we said, exceed their expectations by just giving more, and it'll lead to more sales for that one. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right, so the third tip to creating a competitive advantage as a Fit Pro is enhancing the client experience will allow you to charge a higher premium. Okay, so this is what I always like to ask my students. Do you want to be the Motel 6 or the Ritz-Carlton of being a Fit Pro? Whether you're a personal trainer or whether you're an online coach, do you want to be the Ritz-Carlton, or do you want to be the Motel 6? I hope they're going to say they're going to want to be the Ritz, right? Because if you guys have ever been to a Ritz or a Motel 6, you guys will know the difference, right? Some of you guys too, like if you guys have ever flown like first class or economy, you guys know what the difference is. You're paying for an experience, an emotional experience. You're paying to get treated better at a higher level, right?
You're always going to want that experience.
Exactly, right? So again, Ritz-Carlton they charge probably like $300 to $500 a night, right? Motel 6,
probably more, but
Motel 6, $60 to $80.
Yeah.
So just think logically, what kind of an experience you're going to get for paying $60 to $80 or $300 to $500 a night. Okay, you're going to get a way better experience paying the bigger premium. And that's the mindset you have to have as a fit pro, is how am I going to serve my clients, enhance the client experience through the training, through the coaching, everything you can possibly think about, to where you can be that Ritz-Carlton of a personal trainer or an online coach, and position yourself that way and charge a higher premium. Don't just charge a higher premium because you think you're like the shit or this and that, or you're ripped or something like that. But
you got a bunch of followers.
Exactly. If you're going to charge a higher premium, you better sit there and give them a client experience and go the extra mile, deliver results, all those promises, right? Or else it's going to go sour on you and you only get one reputation. Okay. But that's my whole spiel on this is, do you want to be the Ritz-Carlton or the Motel 6 on that, right? You want to dig a little bit deeper in this?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think a little bit on that, but I mean, it's so true, and that kind of just leads back to the last point I made about some of our students in our program when they come to us and they're just charging like $100 or something, a month or whatever it is, and it's just that mindset of just playing small and just devaluing their services and skills as a fitness professional. And it's like you said, you have to condition your mindset to play at a bigger level and be that Ritz-Carlton. And sometimes that comes through, hiring coaches, that comes through masterminds, that comes through more self-education, that comes through, learning through osmosis, your environment, who were you around? Maybe the upbringing, that you had was just very scarce, and it's not your family's fault, but, that's what you were taught, and that's what you're thinking now. So you just have to get around that and really condition your mindset to play bigger, to, value yourself more. And just that's really all I had to add to that, because I think what you said was just really spot on. But I just see that too much of that going on with coaches.
Yeah, and a big problem with this is again, going back to number one, where people don't understand their niche or specialty.
Yeah.
Because they're so broad and they want to help so many people out, and that's why we help our students out with that 8-step framework, is to position themselves as that celebrity style coach in that niche, that expertise, so they can go back to the drawing board and be like, hey, this is how I'm going to create a Ritz-Carlton experience, how I'm going to charge a higher premium, because I can. I have that specialty in that niche, in that unique way of solving your unique problem that you desperately want to get out of pain, right? It can't just be like weight loss and fat loss. It has to be so much deeper and more specific to that, to where you solve it. Just think about it in this way. Who gets paid more, a heart surgeon or a regular doctor?
Heart surgeon.
Heart surgeon, because it's special,
yeah.
Right? It's a special problem that needs to get solved because they want to get out of the pain. They'll charge whatever it fucking takes to get out of that pain, that problem. You gotta have that mindset as a fit pro. You have to have that mindset as a fit pro, or you're gonna be just like every single other fit pro out there. So on this third tip, okay, on enhancing client experience, which will allow you to charge a higher premium, the tip and takeaway and tactic to test out is send your clients handwritten cards, small gifts, random video, audio, text, inspire, motivate them, and try meetups, right? Again, more touch points, take a general interest in them, ask them questions, send them little small gifts, do things that they would not sit there and expect. And again, I would add on to this, figure out your specialty and your niche to position yourself as a Ritz-Carlton instead of the Motel 6 personal trainer and online fitness coach.
Absolutely. And I would even add to that the gifts and everything, just birthday cards, just write down their birthday, and that should be on your intake questionnaire, before the client even signs up, and you program everything for them. But it's such a simple little thing, and it's just, that should be a gesture coming from your heart, to where it's like you have their address, their birthday, to where they don't think that that's coming from you. That's the last person they think that's going to send them a birthday card that's handwritten and wish them a happy birthday. And I kid you not, just from experience of doing that with thousands of clients around the world, it's the biggest game changer. And that leads to a lifetime value of a customer. It really does, to where you don't have to sit there and go market yourself so much and acquire more leads and spend money on ads and this and that. You've already done the work and gone the extra mile that so many other coaches and phony coaches out there will never do.
Yeah, and how many times, working with online clients, did you sit there and get the client results, and after that, they'd be like, you know what, I just want to try somebody else's methods.
Mm-hmm.
I heard about this coach, just want to try him out. And us, we never sat there and said, no, don't go and do it, because we knew what we delivered and stuff like that. So we were confident. We said, hey, go try them out. Go see if there's something different, or, maybe they can teach you better than we can.
Yeah.
Every time they came back, right, and said, the reason we came back to you was because you cared, because you did X, Y, and Z. You went the extra mile.
Exactly.
This
the
coach,
customer service, the customer experience.
Everything like that. So I'm telling you, it turns into a lifetime value of a customer to where even if they're done working with you, they get the results. Trust me, they are going to remember you, and whenever they need help again and that accountability, they're going to have you on top of their mind before anybody else.
And plain and simple, that leads to being so good they cannot ignore you.
Yeah, exactly. That's a nice one. Okay, guys, so I'm going to recap basically the 3 simple tips to create a competitive advantage as a Fit Pro. So tip number 1 is create a competitive advantage by building your expertise around your niche, okay? The one tip and takeaway I want you to do with that is answer these 3 questions. What education route do I want to invest in? What expert in my niche can I reach out to and emulate? And how can I mastermind with other people in this niche? The second tip is why giving more leads to more sales, okay? And the tip and takeaway and tactic I want you to test out with that, with prospects, is do phone calls, video calls, meet up with them instead of email, text, or DMs, exceed their expectations, wow them. The third tip is enhancing the client experience will allow you to charge a higher premium. And the tip and takeaway and tactic I want you to test out with that with clients is send them handwritten cards, like Eric said, remember their birthday, small gifts, random video, audio, text, inspire and motivate them, and even try meeting up with them and understanding, your niche and specialty. So that is the 3 simple ways to create a competitive advantage as a Fit Pro. And they are simple ways. They're not hard. They don't require a lot of money or rocket science. It just depends how bad you want to sit there and take it to that next level.
Absolutely.
And how bad you want to create that competitive advantage to stand out. That's what it comes down to. And if you don't, cool. If you want to be just a normal personal trainer and just be like every other one, that's fine too. It totally depends on what you want to do. But don't sit there and complain though about it. That's the thing.
Yeah, don't sit there and complain when you're not successful, when you're not moving the needle forward, you're not
making more money,
building upon your business. Yeah. That's just a whole different discussion. But I really hope that these tips are helpful for you guys. Again, as a fitness professional, you should always be thinking about serving your clients first. It's not about you, it's about them. So have that mindset on every single day. And I'm not saying to go to that extreme towards like you can't even sit there and focus on yourself and your happiness and fulfillment. Because you have to come first as well too. Even though you're a coach, if you don't take care of yourself first, you're not going to be able to go out there and serve your clients to the highest level possible. So always keep that in mind, because I know as a practitioner, working with a lot of clients, I used to always put myself, second before, my clients, and I don't think that's the right way to do it now. After learning through, trial and error, working with coaches, it should always be you first. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it should be. So, you guys, also too, Chris and I, our Dynamic Inner Circle program, this is all the stuff that we teach to fitness professionals, how to take their business to the next level, how to grow their business. So, like I said, if you guys are interested in that, Chris and I would love to work with you guys, love to see if it's a good fit, learn more about your business, your goals, see where you guys are struggling. After giving value like this on this podcast, I really just hope that you guys put it into action. That's all I ask.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any closing words?
That's pretty much it. Hopefully this really helped out. And like you said, if they need that extra step and, some outside eyes, and maybe even go through the 8-step framework we take people through to, find their specialty, their niche, to position themselves as the Ritz-Carlton instead of the Motel 6. We'd be happy to see if you'd be a good fit for our Inner Circle program. But other than that, if you put these into practice, you'll do okay on your own.
I agree. All right, guys. So until next time, go out there, live a dynamic lifestyle, and we will talk to you soon. We're out of here. If you're ready to take your personal training business online, to be able to work remotely, to be able to build a 6-figure online coaching business, and to be able to actually spend the time with your family, your loved ones, and doing the things that you actually love doing, then go ahead and fill out the application below. It's absolutely exclusive. Only we see it.